Ooh, nothing but joy.
Joy in Beulah land.
When I reach
Gotta reach that golden strand.
joy
In Beulah
when
land.
I
Gotta
shake
shake my master's
so
hand.
many
Friends and loved
friends
ones gone before.
waiting
Waiting on
over
the other shore.
joy.
Unspeakable joy way over in Beulah land.
Ooh, when I wake up
Hallelujah.
each morning,
Hallelujah.
I thank God for
Hallelujah.
the day.
Hallelujah.
I thank Him for how He brought me and led me along the way. He took my feet off the miry clay and placed them on the rock to stay. Joy,
Unspeakable joy way over in Beulah land.
ooh, joy, joy, joy. Gotta shake
my master's hand.
I got friends waiting
Waiting on
over joy. When I wake up in the morning, I thank God for the day. I thank God for how He brought me along my way. He brought water to dark places and food to the starving land. Nothing but joy, yeah. Oh, joy,
Joy in Beulah land.
joy, joy. Ooh, oh. Got a mother
Over there in the Beulah land.
father,
Over there in the Beulah land.
got a home,
Over there in the Beulah land.
I got friends.
Over there in the Beulah
Ooh,
land.
no sadness, no sorrow, no darkness, no killing, no violence. Ooh, nothing but peace.
Over there in the Beulah land. Over there in the Beulah land. Over there in the Beulah land.
Way over in Beulah land.
See me, Nabi Mikhael Massa. I want to give my testimony today. I want to thank you and everyone who prayed for me for my deliverance in the last tabernacle meeting. 3 weeks ago, the Mwanda told me that I have a spiritual husband. When he revealed that to me, I wasn't shocked because I know that it is true, because it is something that is in our family from my mother's side. Every one of my sisters, this spirit is disturbing us, and I always pray and ask Tata Sambi when we will be free from this spirit. And when the Mwanda revealed it to me and told me that I have to pray, I still stay in prayers. And after you told me what I have to do, I do it. I went in 3 weeks fasting, and when when I was in fasting the day before my deliverance, I had a dream, and in the dream I saw you. I There was a lady, a white lady, a albino lady. She was standing beside me, and she was busy with something. I think she was busy with plants or something, but she was busy to clean up the place where we were standing, and she was standing beside me, and I asked her what she is doing here, but she didn't answer me. And when I looked up, I saw you in my dreams, and I was very happy to see you, and I asked you if you come for me, and you didn't look at me, you looked at the lady, and you told me no, you come for her because you will take her away from there. And I told the lady, the brother is calling you. And then you look so angry in the dream, and you told her that she has to go with you. And then I wake up, and the next day we had a tabernacle meeting, and I was there for deliverance. And when I told you, the Mwanda revealed that also there was another spirit. I think it was a marine spirit, and you prayed for me. And the moment you prayed for me and you told me what to do, I feel like something is removed from my belly, and it has to go out of my body. And I didn't know what happened, but after that, I feel that something was happened with me. I feel so light. I can't describe what I feel at that moment, but I know that the Lord was he is was he has delivered me from that spirit, and I am thankful that I am delivered now. The next day, I felt like I fight with someone. My shoulders hurt me, and you told me what I have to do. I have to wash myself with the. I have to take a spiritual bath, and I did that. And after that, oh, I feel so good. I cannot describe the feeling that I have now, but I feel so good. I feel so good that Tata Sambi delivered me from this spirit, and I will thank him that he did it. I will give him praise. I will honor him that he delivered me from this thing. And thanks to all the brothers and sisters that always prayed for me. I will thank you. This is my testimony.
Away, CMA, Nabi Mikhael Massa. This is a sister from the diaspora in the southwestern region, aka Texas. Um, I was dropping by just to let you know of a dream that I had on the morning of the 17th that um, you and Brother Yanata and myself were in this like a room, like a computer lab, and there were, how do I describe it? It's like the screen was like a black screen all the way around, almost like a bunch of TVs connected together, or like big computers connected together. And Brother Yanata was on one end by the door, and you were on the other end, partly in the center of the room. And he put messages in there that no one else was able to decode but you, and you were decoding them on one end, and everybody was just scratching their head looking at it like, I don't get it, I don't get it. And you had decoded it, and it was like, you did it with ease, because of the gift that the Most High gave you. And when I finally came up close to look on the screen, the Most High had showed you on one end, and then Brother Yanata on the other, your pictures. And he said, these two I have anointed. Follow them. And so that was confirmation to some more prayers I was doing. I didn't have a doubt, but I was like really happy that he confirmed it anyhow. So maybe somewhere I needed to hear that again. And I thought I'd just kind of drop that off with you. And also, I was seeking the Most High at the time that I had these dreams as well. So I thought I'd leave that with you and just say Matondo Masaka for all the work that you do, and that we appreciate y'all for being the brave warriors to speak up in the time that we need y'all to speak up, and just say, Nzambi Akubinisha, that we really appreciate y'all, and may the Most High bless you. Nsambu Ulolo, Ingeta. Owe Siemi, Prophet Mikhael. This is a sister from the diaspora in North America. And I was sending this message because of a dream that I had over a year ago. This dream was in February, the end of February. Something is pointing towards the 24th. I didn't write down the exact date, but I had this dream around then, the end of February 2019. And this dream shook me because it was so deep. I had not come into this Bantu walk at the time, Um, but I was sleeping, and in the dream, I was at my mother's house, and it was the entire layout of my mother's house. And my mom was kind of scurrying to get dressed, and the doorbell rang, and it was my aunts that were there. And it wasn't uncommon. In fact, it's like their regular thing where they do the girls' nights out. They love my mama. She's the eldest, and she pretty much raised them um, because she's so much older than the youngest of the girls. But yes, and or rather had a hand in helping to raise them. But in either case, they were there to take her to a restaurant, a fancy restaurant that apparently they had booked sometime before. But the Most High had spoken to me moments before and told me not to go out, that to keep my family in, that there was going to be something that's going to happen. And if he gave me a message like that, I knew it was serious. And I'm trying to convince my aunts and my mom to not go out. And, they tell me, well, we prayed and everything's going to be all right. We didn't get that feeling. And so I'm really trying to convince them. And my mom says, well, it should be okay. We're just going to say a prayer as we go. But I'm just, I just felt defeated at that point. And I asked them, well, can I ride along? And they're like, yes. So in the car, I'm praying in my mind. I'm just praying and crying out to the Most High. And I'm asking him to give me some time to let me just see if I can talk with my aunts and my mom, and that they'll come around and that we'll be back home. So when we're there at the restaurant, we go up the stairs, and about halfway through the stairs, I stop and I speak with them. And I'm trying to tell them again about our lineage, and again, this is before I come into the Bantu truth, that which still ties in, and about the Most High and our relationship with Him. And so I think my aunts at this point become a lot more convinced, and they're just adamant about having this one dinner. And they said, well, we're just going to be real quick, or we're going to get our stuff and go. And I'm just like, we got to leave now. But we end up going up to the rooftop of the restaurant, and they call our names to go get our seat. And as we're getting ready to go sit down, we hear the voice, this loud, this booming voice from outdoors. And my mom and I both know, we feel in our spirit, this is the voice of the Most High. And so my mom goes, I want to go see. I want to see. So she goes to the door, and we go out on the corridor of the rooftop, and there's this railing where you can see a bunch of people who have gathered around the railing. And below you can see all the people and the cars, and it was a really busy city area. So I imagine they drove to another city because my mom doesn't live there. And as I look out, I see in the sky that the helicopters were suspended in air. Airplanes are suspended in the air. I'm looking across and I see all of the animals who were underground and underwater come up to the surface. I see cars that had frozen at stoplights, and people who were attempting to use their cell phones couldn't. They were just kind of, they either dropped it or were just holding it. Nothing was working. No devices were working. Everything was standing still. And the people were looking up to the sky. And out of the sky, you see these crimson red clouds. And I was looking, and I also saw angels
that were in the air. And some were on horses. Some were over the waters and the land, and birds had stayed in trees. They weren't flying in the air. Everything was still. And I could hear the voice of the Most High. And he was rebuking, he was mostly speaking to the heathen. And his voice could be heard over everywhere on the earth. It was like he was on a loudspeaker or a microphone everywhere across the earth. And he was mostly speaking to the heathen. He was telling them that their time had come. He was speaking to them of their sins and how they lived so lavishly off of the true people. And he was telling them who the real Hebrews were of this earth, who the real chosen people were of this earth. And as he was speaking, he said his name as well. And it was at that point my mom was just so upset. She says, I want to go sit down. I want to go sit down. And we must have had some kind of favor. We were the only ones who were able to move. And so we go, and I sit with my mom on the bench. And she's just so distraught. She loved him. She loved him, and I could tell that he loved her too. She was of another faith. And she hadn't truly come into this truth. I was telling her, Mama, let's just pray. And so as we're getting ready to pray, in our spirits, he speaks to us and he says, don't pray for them. And it shook me so bad. I have never heard the Most High speak to me in anger. I've never heard that before. So it shook me to the core of my soul. But what I remember was the heathen just standing there quiet. I mean, he had stopped the voices of everybody. Everyone was inaudible. Everything was inaudible. The only voice that could be heard was his. And he tells them, and I could also see while I was over the ledge, that there were Hebrew people. There were chosen, there were people, as I now know, Bantu, who were with the heathen, but they wouldn't let them go. And the Most High was speaking. And when he stopped, all of the angels just flew in action. And out of the sky came like these flaming rocks. And like I said, I've been chasing this dream for over a year. I came to find out, I was praying on it so much. I came to find out that those flaming rocks were like meteors that were shooting out of the sky. And they were specifically targeted to the heathen, wherever they were. And as we know, meteors can penetrate even the core of the earth. And so these meteors were shooting out of the sky. And the Malachi, the angels, were flying to find the heathen, because a lot of them were underground. A lot of them were in places that we had no idea were even on earth. And the angels were shooting into action. They were just going into action. And it was like the Most High had a dome of protection around us, because it didn't bother us. And I just woke up, and I was shaking. And in my bed, I was shaking. And I was trying to figure out, what was the name that he said? What was the name? He let me understand it. And this is just honest truth, to be Yahweh. But I knew in my heart that's not what he said. And I just kept praying on that and praying on it. And some months later, about June 2019, Brother Issachar had pointed out Yanata's channel, Brother Yanata. So I went to check out Brother Jonathan Chilumbo at the time. And when he said Gembo, Gembo, Natata, Nzambi, I knew Nzambi was what he said. In my soul, I knew that's what he said. I knew that's what he said, and I kept praying on it. I was crying out to the Most High because I really wanted answers. I was trying to, I'm still chasing parts of that dream because it was so spiritually in depth. And so from that day on, I knew. And then I started doing research. It wasn't like, I just believe it because, I heard it. I researched it and I researched it. I love history. So I researched it. I went into this Bantu truth and I went into finding out information and I went into finding out what our people called the Most High before we even knew about Europeans. And so I thought I'd just drop that off just to let you know what was to come to pass. And also after I woke up, I was so shaken. I think I shook and I cried before the Most High. Just fervent prayer for 2 weeks straight. I was just so fearful at hearing him speak, and then seeing what I saw, and then, in his anger towards me. And I believe it was because I was disobedient. I didn't stay inside. I'd gone out, in the attempt of saving anybody. At that time when he gives you a message, you take it to heart. And but he allowed me to see that. And I thought I'd just let you know and to let our family know if there's any European root to anything that we are doing, we have to let it go. We have to unlearn what we've learned and relearn what we've forgotten. We can't trade one slave master for another. And if we find that the root of our slave owners and everything in the industry, it was one source that always had us under their foot. I thought I'd just let you know that, and just to say, Nsambu Lolo, to you and all of our beloved chosen people. I love you, and I pray this did some good to you, and I just pray many blessings, like I said, Nsambu Lolo.
All praises to the Most High, yeah? Tatanan Zambia Mazulu. Brother Mikhael Massa, this is Keisha. I'm from Grenada. I would like to share an experience with you. On August 11, 2020, at 1:30 a.m., I was awoken from sleep after experiencing between two worlds experience. I was sleeping, but I was awake. And I was back and forth from sleep to the realm of the spirit to sleep in short spaces. But within what was happening, I felt your presence. The spirit told me it was you. And it's like you were empowering me with a force. You were not an image, you were a force, like a wind, a force field. And as I twist and turn in my bed, I know something was happening, but I wasn't able to awoke from sleep fully. But when I did awoke from sleep, at the end of it, I heard a deep voice, a deep male voice says, Akomish. I opened my eyes and lie there for a minute and try to process what I heard, and I repeated it in my mind. Akomish. I said, who are you? And I heard my spirit, I felt in my spirit, I heard when my spirit says, Congo. I said, Yesaya Congo. Akomish, is that my name? Is that what you called me in the realm of the spirit? I did not hear the voice again. I knew that this, in my years of dreaming and hearing things, this is the first time I have ever heard a voice like that. It was deep. I wasn't afraid because the spirit told me it was Congo, and I felt his spirit even after I opened my eyes, still present. I did my research. I tried to look up the word Akomish in Kikongo. However, I only am able to get the word Akomish. I'm not sure if you know of any other word that is close to it that may have a similar meaning. But when I research this word, it brings me to a video game, the Akomish tribe, a fictional Native American tribe from the small town of Solomon Bay, Washington, located a few miles out of Seattle. So this game is all about the conduit gene, those persons who are supernatural. There was a biotherapist accident, and those Akomish people helped that person, and the DUP, which is the Department of Unified Protection, came in to harass them, and from there on. But I believe if this is from the Most High, I believe that this swabbing that they're doing of people's mouth and taking samples is to figure out who has this conduit gene, who has this gene, because this gene, it says here that it's a subspecies of humans who possess superhuman abilities afforded to them by the presence of a conduit gene. So they're actually looking for persons, and you have different types of genes, conduit types that can pass down, and it's a game. But I find it fascinating that they talk about Solomon Bay in Washington and Seattle, and if you look at the map, of America, they do have a Solomon Bay in Washington, they do have a Washington Lake, and they have and that's in Seattle, and it's a gateway, it's a port. It's a 3-water channel gateway, and they named this place Punget Sound, and they name it after a person they call Peter Punget. I don't know if this will do anything for you. I don't know if I'm supposed to tell you, but if it does make any sense to you, glory to the Most High.